Can you believe he believed in magic? Did you know that? I think that is so intriguing to think that about Kenyatta. I look forward to interviewing and having a moment with his son, the former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. I think he's the best person who will tell us more about his dad, Our very own Boniface Mwangi, an activist, a photographer, and the best part, courage. He speaks courage. And wait a minute, have you seen Biko? I have no idea how Biko looks like. He walks incognito. He shares so much wisdom and light with us, but there's no face to him. Anyone ready to lick his face out here? The stereotype description of Wangui Makeri is the woman leader who danced the Kibata naked. She has also been portrayed as a tyrannical ruler who literally sat on men. However, this historical study shows that Wangui's detractors capitalized on her weak points to dilute her positive attributes. Actually, attaching her image here, I am humbled to have met her actually a couple of times. One at the Book Bank Festival, which was really, really amazing. It was actually a gala night in December 2022 at the Macmillan Library, where there's so much happening. It's so great to see legendary women reconstructing Kenyan libraries. That Shiro Koinange, I'm giving her a shout out to, and also sharing her at this part because they're really doing amazing work in making sure our history is well restored and kept for future generations. It's so lovely to see this, and guess what? Coming soon to Netflix. Go Lola! How cool is that? Ring a bell? You all know her as being that one African queen, a feminist. I am yet to get into this book because I have a long list of books, but I can quickly read what other people read. And hello from the sunny side, the space that we get to share so much light from global iconic outlets. My name is Sophia Wawero, founder of Happy Humans Foundation, where we get to share so much wisdom and light. And today is a special edition where there is a twist to it, global iconic authors. They say charity begins at home. Presenting to you, Africa. Today we get to talk about African authors. We have so many legendary writers in the continent, and honoring them is actually my sheer pleasure. We will be doing that from a very good representation, starting from very, very humble beginnings of African roots, the very first president of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, facing Mount Kenya. I'm actually happy to share a fun fact. My roots are from Kirinyaga, the root of Mount Kenya. So it's actually an honor to have such a book as part of my collection. And sharing something randomly about Jomo Kenyatta that you don't know about. Can you believe he believed in magic? Did you know that? I think that is so intriguing to think that about Kenyatta, and he has a very good sense of humor that I can tell you for free. I look forward to interviewing and having a moment with his son, the former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. I think he's the best person who will tell us more about his dad, as we get to also read about the book. I manifest having a conversation with Uhuru talking about facing Mount Kenya and Jomo Kenyatta. I would love to hear if you've read the book, or did you even know there's actually a book about Jomo Kenyatta? And I look forward to hearing from you about it. The second book we'll get to talk about is from a young person. And you see, the beauty about us, the youth, I'll literally get it from the author of the book. He says, never tell a young man it is impossible. Our very own Boniface Mwangi, an activist, a photographer, and the best part, courage. He speaks courage fluently and confidently. So in his book, he gets to cover much about how Kenya has been, the journey that it has been from his own experience, especially during the post-election violence in 2007, and what he stands for. It's a very, very deep and reflective journey, and the beauty about it is, my goodness, I'll actually save your eyes. I wanted to share that, but it's best you get the book. Boniface is always selling it, and you can easily reach out to him and he'll be there to deliver it your way. I never thought I would get speechless from looking at it at this moment. It's best you get to look at it, and it will inspire you to be the best version of yourself, because that's what we've seen Boniface do. He always stands for what he knows is best for the country. He's literally lived more lives than a cat, and he's still going. So what is our excuse? Sometimes we hold back from expressing what we know we stand for. Speak courage fluently. I couldn't put it any better. Our next book gets to be half of a yellow sun, Chimamanda Ngozi. Ring a bell? You all know her as being that one African queen, a feminist. I am yet to get into this book because I have a long list of books, but I can quickly read what other people read and their feel of the book. Without a doubt, a literally masterpiece and a classic. Absolutely awesome. One of the best books I have ever read. Vividly written, drumming with life, a remarkable novel. With touching insight, compassion, and unexpected yet utterly appropriate touch of wit, Adichie has created an extraordinary book. If you read the book, I would love to hear. Please, not so many spoilers while you're at it. Looking forward to you sharing that. And the next book, oh my goodness, it's a very, very tiny and short book by our own Biko. I'm sure you know Biko Zulu from his very, very catchy, witful stories that he shares. And wait a minute, have you seen Biko? I have no idea how Biko looks like. He walks incognito. He shares so much wisdom and light with us, but there's no face to him. Anyone ready to lick his face out here? Anyone? It's a very short book, but it actually gets to share a lot about the journey of dealing with some of our insecurities and weaknesses that sometimes we are not ready to address. It's called Drunk for a reason. Sometimes you spend life running. Sometimes you just need to sit back, feel everything, and think about the best way to work around life. But there are so many distractions that get onto us, and we think it's the easier and the better path. But always at the apex of pain is where there's so much growth. I look forward to you getting drunk. It's actually a very affordable book, and you can order directly from Biko and he will get to deliver it. All the best as you indulge in Drunk. Such a cute, sweet book. And also he has written Thursdays. Money Conversation. This book is called Making Sense. It's by Washeke Ndwati. When you think of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, so we have our very own Kenyans writing about money. I mean, there's so much beauty in reading books from here on financial literacy. She's actually the CEO of Centonomy, if you've heard about Centonomy. And there's so much to learn from it. I'm yet to read it, but we can get to hear from her on why she actually wrote the book and what is her objective while at it. Like so many of us, I learned some of my most valuable lessons through mistakes I have made and the failures I have survived. Making Sense is based on these lessons, but my story will not be the only one I share. You are in good company if you want to learn from real people's experiences, failures, lessons learned, and their eventual success with personal finances. Washeke believes that the journey to financial freedom starts with living intentionally. To connect with her, get to purchase this book and also check her out on her socials as Washeke Ndwati. So I think this is a very, very needed conversation. Sometimes I get to tell people I wish what people were learning from a very tender age when you go to maybe just after the below junior grades, the next grade. Even at a very tender age, a person will still get the value of money. So financial literacy, get to know about mental health, happiness, self-worth. I think these are very critical things that we need to learn from a very tender age to have real impact by the time you're getting to have that access to money. Because as Washeke said, we make so many mistakes and you only learn through the mistakes. The good thing though, this is revolving around, it's changing so fast. There's so many money conversations right now. Like we have our own just Ivy who is sharing a lot about money on Money Mondays, and people get to share views on how that has been there to change their lives. They're doing better. There's so much to learn. At least now we have no excuse. There's a lot of information even from such a book. Caroline Mutuko, our own Kenyan journalist, gets to share a lot about her feel of the book. You are holding a mind opener. You will also learn a few things about yourself, your dreams, and your financial BMI. Interesting about the next book. Phenomenal one, this one. Wagoa Makeri. Ring a bell on Kenyan history? The stereotype description of Wagoa Makeri is the woman leader who danced the kibata naked. She has also been portrayed as a tyrannical ruler who literally sat on men. However, this historical study shows that Wagoa's detractors capitalized on her weak points to dilute her positive attributes. The author shows that Wagoa was a firm, assertive, principled, and diplomatic leader. She had a strong personality that enabled her to make inroads into the male world when it was almost impenetrable. Guess what? All along, woman power, who are thinking that this is the moment that women get to know their value, it's actually been there. Here are our own ancestors confirming it. So we are keeping on a journey that has already been portrayed and set precedent by the best from the past. As always, this is Happy Humans Foundation. So it's about the light. There's so much light to get from her. A very strong personality. Very assertive. Assertive is something I use a lot as the 5 factors that one can use to influence. It's among the likability, charisma, compromise, And logic. Who would have thought this is a whole century back? The next book, again, it just has to be a lady from Nigeria, Lola Shoneyin. Actually attaching her image here. I am humbled to have met her actually a couple of times. One at the Book Bank Festival, which was really, really amazing. It was actually a gala night in December 2022 at the Macmillan Library, where there's so much happening. It's so great to see legendary women reconstructing Kenyan libraries. That Shiro Koinange, I'm giving her a shout out to, and also sharing her at this part because they're really doing amazing work in making sure our history is well restored and kept for future generations. And so Lola has written a book, The Secret Lives of Babasengi's Wives. To the dismay of her mother, Bolangle marries into a polygamous home and becomes the fourth wife of Babasengi. She's a university graduate and as such highly prized by her new husband. But even graduates must produce children, and her husband's persistent Bilashe is a sign that things are not as they should be. Bolanle only wants a quiet life, but the other wives disapprove of her and fear she may unlock their well-guarded secret. Lola Shoneyin weaves a witty, exuberant story of determined women and big surprises in this beloved modern classic. I'm sure that's you rushing to a bookstore. You can't help but delve into the sweet pages of what this entails. It's so lovely to see this, and guess what? Coming soon to Netflix. Go Lola! How cool is that? Oh, you won't believe this. Whew. Yeah, that's me taking a moment for our very own Chinua Achebe. I know you know him from one famous book, A Man of the People. This is actually Things Fall Apart. Yeah, I've come to learn I'm not the only one who does this. So many readers undress books. Yep. You would get it if you own somehow a library. So may this get you into that space of having so many books, and you'll get why you need a sleeve separate and like this. So this is actually a trilogy of the original books. So it's pretty much of a simplified version of it. And so to read just a few comments from the people who've read it, what they feel about it. Achebe is gloriously gifted with the magic of an ebullient, generous, great talent. African literature is incomplete and unthinkable without the works of Chinua Achebe. For passion, intellect, and crystalline prose, he is unsurpassed. A magical writer, one of the greatest of the 20th century. We are indebted to Achebe for reminding us that art has social and moral dimensions, a truth often obscured. We are not doing spoilers today. It's us getting to appreciate there's so much out here for us. What is your excuse so far? We've covered so many books. What's your excuse? I hope you found one or two already that you're delving into already. Whew, this one is a special one. The author is called Waithera Budhia. She's the author of this book. She's actually a poet. Oh, and it's so cool that she actually attached a DVD player for me to listen to. I got to meet her when I had attended an event where she was reciting her poems, and also Kwame Rigay, a Kenyan performer, was part of the audience. It was actually a very special day because I attended it with my parents. I was taking them for just special dinner, lunch outside. And it was really cool because I really love our local dialects and spaces that get to embrace that. So one thing about Waithera, she has poems that she recites in Kikuyu so well. Can you believe that? How cool is that? So the special thing about this, the inspiration of it is actually loss. Unfortunately, she did undergo loss, where she lost one of her daughters, and it got her to heal on the journey by writing a requiem for her, choosing a couple of poems that were coming to her mind. And there is a part I would love to read. Grief, I think, is the toughest part of human existence. No one is ever ready for loss at all. And it's very, very painful. And in honor of Waithera and Jerry, I will read this part where, again, as always, there's light. There's always light. So on this specific page, Waithera says, "Today, I think only of happy times. Look at pictures that bring me only laughter and maybe watch some videotapes of you and your siblings in New York, or of you with your baby sisters and cousins in Kenya. Still, I will not cry. I will not be sad. And I will not cry. Today will be a tears-free day, a bitterness and pain-free day, a laughter-filled day that recalls all the good memories that you so generously bequeathed with this family." Last but not least, from today's collection, I actually talked about her a couple of minutes ago when I was talking about the book bank. Yeah, she is the co-founder, Wanjiru Koinange. She wrote a book, The Havoc of Choice. Oh, and actually, I think when I was purchasing it, she had written something on it. And also Lola's book, because she actually got to sign it when I was with her, which I think is super cool, to interact with others directly through the intimate and abiding lens of family. Koinange, a new and compelling voice, skillfully weaves an intricate story of corruption, betrayal, love, and loss, tension-filled and moving. 2007, Kenya. Long held captive by her father's shadow of corruption, Kavata has spent her life suffocated by political machinations, where her husband decides to run in the next election. These shadows threaten to consume her home. Unable to bear this darkness, Kavata plots to escape. As her family falls apart, so too does her country. In the wake of Kenya's post-election turmoil, Kavata and her family must find their way back to each other across a landscape of nationwide confusion, desperation, and heart-rending loss. Koinange explores the long-reaching effects of colonization and corruption within the context of a singular household and the disparate experiences of class and clan and their encapsulate. Looks like we are getting back to where we had started on the books, where we were talking about Boniface Mwangi's book. And what I find from both books is about courage. It's about courage. We all need to talk. Sometimes we feel like we need to be quiet because sometimes no one will understand or no one will respond. The beauty about humanity is self-expression. We need to express ourselves on a day-to-day basis because that's what we are. We are gifted to create and express. Imagine if Boniface and Shiro didn't take their time to do this. How else would you relate? And I think that's the beauty about books, about knowledge, about wisdom. If you have that manuscript that you wrote that is just besides you take the challenge positively to actually bring out your work. We are ready. We are ready to feel it and be a part of your cause. As always, it's never goodbye at Happy Humans Foundation. It's a see you later. Thank you so much for being part of Africa. I hope that if you're out there and you would love to be part of Africa, they say a reader lives 1,000 lives, and that's the beauty about books. You can get to know about a couple of countries from these books that I have listed here today.